Hello, friends. I hope you're popping in to see this first of a series of lives that I'm going to start doing weekly, 3 times a week. And I'm going to pick a time, a consistent time. This is not it. Can consistency happen in my life? I don't know. It remains to be seen. Anyhow, let me tell you about it. I am going to call it Lessons from the Reluctant Entrepreneur. That's me. And I want to share quite candidly some of the things I've learned as I've grown in my business. Over the past, I just double checked this, actually 2.8 months since I put my business up on LinkedIn. But I'm not going to count that as my start point because I didn't start the ghostwriting section of my business, which I pretty much fully transferred over into until November 2017. But that's still 2 years and a month I've been doing this. And I just want to come in here candidly. I think sometimes things get lost. I get why people do it, and I do it often as well. But when you want to present yourself as the expert that you are in what you're doing, sometimes you lose a little bit of the, I think the realness that people need to hear. And there's realness. And then there's, I'm going to be real to a degree, which, hey, I totally get. Share what you want to share online. Online, you're opening yourself up to people you don't know seeing your videos. So I completely get it. And there's also this idea about staying on point in terms of your brand identity. You are your business. So everything you put online essentially represents your business and what you're selling. So that being said, though, I'm selling ghostwriting and writing courses and maybe ideas courses, all these things that I love. And so I think that I can be fully transparent and open in some of the things I want to share about being a new entrepreneur. Not only a new entrepreneur in my 20s when I'm just starting out and life is new and exciting, and life is still exciting, it's less new. And sometimes we don't think we can embark on these journeys midlife. So I want to share some of the things I've gone through in terms of a major career transition to end up where I am today. Some of the other things that we're going to talk about in this Lessons from the Reluctant Entrepreneur are tips and tricks for writing, some writing prompts if you're feeling like you've got writer's block and you have to get a project out, or well, there's, if you have a client and you have to get the client work done, you have a deadline, you've got to get it done, you've got to get it out there, so we can work on some things to help you do that. And also, if you're stuck writing your book for yourself, sometimes the biggest thing that gets in our way is actually writer's block. And we want to be able to move out of that and into some free-flowing writing. And so I'm going to help with some of those things, or some of my tips and tricks for getting unstuck, especially when you have to, because it's on a deadline. All right. The last thing I'm going to talk about, and this is a scary one for me because I've been working on it. I've been working on it for about a year now. Money. I'm going to bring you on my money mindset journey. I am by no means an expert in this area, and I cannot tell you how to make 10K months because I do not make 10K months. So I'm going to share with you some of my journey along the money mindset path. And yeah, those are the 3 things. That's what I want to talk about in the Lessons from the Reluctant Entrepreneur. And so today, what I would like to talk about is one of the biggest lessons I have learned since starting my business 2 years and 1 month ago. And that is that I would get so excited. I so wanted it to work that when someone offered me a project, I would just take it regardless of how much I was being paid, because I thought, well, it's an opportunity. I didn't want to miss out on that opportunity, and I wanted to keep pushing forward. So I would take the work. The problem with that is that in taking that work, it would remove space that I would have in my life to take on work where I was getting paid a reasonable amount. And so my first lesson was in understanding my value, even though I was new. It was a detriment to building my business to take on a lot of low-paying work. I get that, especially in a service-based business, you will want to take on some low-paying work or volunteer work, even in the beginning, in the beginning because it's valuable to grow your customer base and you need more experience. You may want to get experience in something you haven't done before. So yes, absolutely take some of that work, but don't make it a habit and don't make it all of your time. Because if you do it all of your time, then you've left yourself absolutely no room for growth. And you need to leave yourself that room for growth. And this is a lesson I've actually learned kind of over and over and over again, that yeah, growth is important. And so if you're just constantly taking that low paying work, your business will not succeed. Bottom line. So what I've done for myself is I've created 3 non-negotiables. And again, I'm still a little bit flexible. You still have to be flexible. I know they're called non-negotiables, so it seems not right. But in some cases, I am a little bit flexible with these non-negotiables. And I created these non-negotiables only a few months ago because I had to learn that lesson about low paying work again, but I had something else happen that I'll talk about a bit later that caused me to hit a bit of a financial rut, and not a great one, like 2 to 3 months of a financial rut, even though I was fully booked for clients. Like 6 books is a lot of books to be writing at one time, but I still hit this huge financial low, and it was my own fault. It was a big mistake of mine. It was a combination of lower paying work and then also clients who had to stall for very good life reasons. But I didn't push forward in finding new clients because I was unsure when they would start back up, and I wanted to hold that space for them. I wanted to leave that space for them. But the problem with leaving that space for them is that I wasn't thinking of myself. So I needed a combination of things, higher paying work, and then also not holding space. If a client needs to take a break, then I need to take on a new client. Those are 2 huge lessons. And within the non-negotiables, they fit in that the first one is that the person has to be able to pay a deposit. The first third of the work is due upon signing the contract. I've had this happen a few times now where people ask to wait to pay at the start of the contract, and I don't consider them a client until they pay that first third of the final amount. The second non-negotiable is that they have to be able to complete it within a reasonable time frame. And I get, if life pops in the way and there are holds and things, I'm absolutely flexible. But again, I have to cover myself in terms of taking on work to fill the financial gap that may cause, because I don't take a second balance of the money until sort of midway through the project. But also, I've had a lot of people ask for quick rush things, and I would think, oh, okay, I'm not super busy today, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do this rush thing, and I'm not going to worry about it. But again, in doing that rush thing, it takes away from building. It takes away from these sorts of things. It takes away from thinking about how to build my online presence and start to get more clients online rather than just building my word of mouth. Now, word of mouth is great. I'm going to continue to keep doing it, but need to keep pushing forward and looking towards building and growing. That's important. That's a huge, huge aspect, and I wasn't taking it into account. So I know a lot of people, I follow a lot of coaches, I work within the self-help motivational genres, and I think their breakdown, or for some of them, is 80-20, 80% building, 20% work. As a service-based, as a writer, it's more the other way around. It's 80% work, 20% building that I'm sticking to. Although I think at some point I would like to get that down to 70% work, 30% building of the time that I have to work in a day. So non-negotiables, number 1 is being able to pay the deposit upon booking. Number 2 is a reasonable time frame. And number 3 is to be able to afford my services at the price that they're at. I think as I grow, I'll continue to offer a range of services. So I have my low cost offer right on through up into my high cost offers. And my high cost offers are fully written books, of which this year I've completed and had 2 clients published, 1 client finished, still deciding on her next steps. And I'm in the process of 5 more client books, two on hold, and my own book as well. So all of those things are happening, and I'm very excited about the actual work itself and the work that I'm doing. But where I've failed is understanding the financial side of things. Meaning I had a couple months, even though I was fully booked, where my highest income amount was $750. That is very, very poor planning and very bad business. And that is 100% on me. So yeah, it's a whole bunch of learning, a whole bunch of figuring it out. You always want to look at, or what I'm starting to learn as well, is look at the length of time that it's going to take you to complete a project and to make sure that you're covered sort of all the way through. So on the advice of another entrepreneur, I had created a payment schedule that I thought was right. And again, as you'll notice in those like 2 to 3 months where I was making so little money, I had messed up that payment schedule. So what I will do in the future is switch the payment schedule to be more deposit, midway, and bottom line. So work doesn't continue until those are paid. And it sounds like, for me, I'm like, oh, that's so harsh. I don't know if I can do that. But the reality is I won't be in business another year if I don't do it. So if I want to succeed, then understanding the finances behind what I'm doing, or that will support what I'm doing, is probably the most, or actually the most important next step for me in my business. And that's why I call myself, and I'm calling this discussion series, Lessons from the Reluctant Entrepreneur, because I've never gone to business school and I've always been an artist. From being a dancer to I'm learning how to paint, to writing, to anything super creative. And I always had this idea that thinking about money, doing things for money was wrong and it made you a bad person. I am learning and I'm working through this very negative limiting belief and realizing that actually taking your finances seriously, making them a priority in your business is actually smart business, and it gives you the freedom to do all of the awesome things that you want to do with your business in your life. So on that note, I'm going to end by telling you a little bit more about what I do. I've started the Big Blue Sky Academy that I run kind of like a college structure, in that we have one workshop a week, I have one lesson a week, and you're given homework for the week, which is to write a chapter of your book. So for this one, it's a book workshop. It is $6.94 now. Prices went up as of yesterday. $6.94 for the 3-month program. Please message me if you have any questions. I will throw a link down in the comments. I also offer a range of kind of co-writing, coaching to full ghostwriting your book services. If you want to know more about that, I'll explain in each video, but I don't want to spend the end of every video telling you exactly what I do. Message me anytime. I would love, love, love to chat. And also, I'd love your feedback. Let me know what you thought of this first Lessons from the Reluctant Entrepreneur live. I will talk to you all soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.